Well, hey, hello, everybody. I recognize a lot of familiar names and faces. For those of you whom I do not know, my name is Chris Ferguson. I am a former NASA and Boeing astronaut, and I am a 10-year ASF board member. And for those of you who have seen me at my finest, I'm also a part-time cocktail challenge rapper. And that's a festivity we go through usually around Hall of Fame week. Somebody, I think, actually has a tape of that, and that is what I fear most. Uh, Typically, Kurt would be here to welcome all of you. He asked me, of course, to pass along his thanks for your continued support of ASF, but he is attending a memorial for a dear friend and says hello and wishes he could certainly be here. I would like to add my thanks as well for your trust and your support of ASF. Hopefully, we will get to see some of you in West Palm in January as Bob Crippen and I share some stories about the bookmarked shuttle missions of STS-1 and 135. It's a little sobering to think that it is 2026 actually marks the 45th anniversary of STS-1. And I think that that is only slightly less amazing than the fact that it's been 15 years since the program has ended. So let me see. I think I saw Sandy Magnus's name down there. Maybe you can join us in West Palm, Sandy. It should be a pretty good time. My 10-year association with the foundation has been a commitment from the heart, as I really personally can think of no better cause for than a merit-based support for the best and the brightest that this country has to offer. Our support continues beyond financial, and it goes on to networking, mentoring, and retaining scholars who serve as role models for those who follow them. And I'd like to give a couple shout outs to those who are probably not on this call. And first, and I think I see some faces who were there, for those who were unable to attend the Innovators Gala in July in Houston, you heard from our Armstrong Award of Excellence winner and ASF scholar and board member, Jessica Blomberg. Jessica, to me, epitomizes the perfect example of a scholar role model who gave one of the most memorable, heartfelt acceptance addresses centered around her career passion and love of family. And we need to look no further than Jessica to confirm that our scholars are certainly the best. And second, as many of you have surely know, Carolyn Schumacher has made the very difficult decision to take advantage of another opportunity at an organization called Give Kids the World. It's a fantastic nonprofit in the Orlando area. Caroline was a fantastic ASF leader. She was engaged, idea-filled, tenacious, and just plain fun to be around. And if I know Caroline, she will stay as engaged as necessary to ensure that ASF gets off to a great new start with our new president and CEO. Caroline left some big shoes to fill. Fortunately, those shoes have been filled with our under the auspices of our selection committee. And that brings me to our new president and CEO. Colleen Middlebrooks is a 25-year veteran of nonprofit leadership, and many know her from her development role at the Astronaut Memorial Foundation. As a bonus, Colleen grew up in the shadow of the Kennedy Space Center and understands the fundamentals upon which our foundation began. I was absolutely thrilled to hear that Colleen was being considered for the position, and I lent my most enthusiastic endorsement to the committee. Colleen will undoubtedly lead ASF forward with passion and continued success. With that, and hopefully with a virtual round of applause, I would like to introduce ASF's new president and CEO, Colleen Middlebrooks. So Colleen, over to you.
Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate that warm, kind introduction. And it's a privilege to step into this role at ASF. It's such a powerful mission, and I'm honored. I'm honored to introduce myself today to you. And to that end, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Thank you, Kirsten. And also thank you for joining me today. As Chris said, I grew up on the Space Coast during the shuttle era, and actually began my career in everybody's favorite grade as an 8th grade teacher in Atlanta Public Schools. So I taught for a few years, and then I found myself drawn to nonprofit work and started at an autism center, a brand new autism center at the Florida Institute of Technology, doing their community outreach and their fundraising events. And from there, I kept on that path and found myself for quite some time at a K through 12 private school doing major gift fundraising, and was able to successfully fundraise for a STEM building and actually an athletic complex. And so my background is heavy development fundraising work. My most proud achievement are my 2 children. I have a daughter named Ava and a son named Jake. And recently dropped him off at his dorm at the University of Tampa and became officially an empty nester. So this job at ASF couldn't have come at a better time in my life and career, as I find myself ready to travel and ready to get a lot done on behalf of ASF. So I think this role marries my background in education, my work in nonprofit for so long, and I just feel really, really fortunate to be sitting here today. So with that, I'd like to update you on where we've been the past few months and where we're headed. And the first announcement that has come about is that we've added 2 new ASF trustees, Trent Kingery, who is actually a scholar and a Neil Armstrong Award winner, and Rick Mastracchio, veteran astronaut. So we're thrilled to have them joining us and supporting our mission. Next, although I was not a part of the ASF family quite yet, I did have the honor of attending the Hall of Fame in May, where we inducted Dr. Bernard Harris and Peggy Whitson. And that was a wonderful display of actually 30 scholars attending and then honoring our inductees. And we will be doing that again in the middle of May. So look for those dates coming out again, and we'll recap that at the end of this talk. And then the next slide. Lucky for me, about 2 weeks into my tenure with ASF, I was able to head to Houston for our other signature event, which is the Innovators Symposium and Gala, where 68 out of our 74 scholars attended. And we spent a few days doing industry tours, professional expo, tech conference. And for me, it was the perfect opportunity to see our mission in motion and to be amongst those talented students. So I was actually, although nervous, lucky that it came about so quickly, and I was able to just really dig in right away. Another big announcement that we have is that we currently have been partnered with 51 universities, and in early 2026, we'll be adding 4 more universities to our portfolio. Rice, which is actually supported by the Lovell family, Tarleton, which is newly supported by the Duke family, University of Cincinnati, which is actually funding itself, and University of North Dakota, and that is led by Karen Nyberg's support amongst a few others. So we will be having kickoff events in January at all 4 places, 2 of which should be extremely chilly while we're there, but I'm looking forward to those kickoff events. Next slide. So some scholar updates, which is the most important part of this. 74 exceptional students were awarded for the 25-26 academic year with up to $15,000 per student. And we currently have a very robust mentor program engaging 135 mentors. And so we're very proud of that and hope to grow that. Some other highlights: more than 1,000 people attended our spring on-campus award ceremonies, which was earlier in 2025. And our scholars have the opportunity to present at Kennedy Space Center Houston, Science Blast, and other industry conferences for professional development. And I've been able to attend one of those recently with Carter Vu. And we also have done some podcasts focusing on that mentor-mentee relationship I spoke about a few minutes ago. So on to some fundraising news. We had an astronaut challenge and Founders Day this summer, and quite a few astronauts participated. So thank you for that. And we were able to raise more than $80,000. So thank you to everyone who participated in that effort. And we also want to thank Eileen Collins for joining us in a virtual talk on the actual Founders Day of July 18th. So thank you, Eileen. So still to come, we are in the process of doing a series of live chats with an astronaut, and actually a scholar joins them for that. We have our second one next week on the 25th with Mr. Leland Melvin. And it's wildly popular, as right now I can confirm about 450 registrants have signed up for this live chat, which is extremely exciting, and it's grades 3rd through 12th. And he is so good at connecting with children and has his own books. And so if you want to sign up, there'll be room for as many as we want, but we're excited that there's that many signed up already. We'll also hit the road in about 2 weeks to start our on-campus award ceremonies. And I'll be going to the Citadel in a few weeks. And then from there, every week or two, we'll be visiting the schools until Christmas. And then we have a fall auction, which will be starting online, and also holiday shopping with our online store. So please look for some special steals and deals coming your way. A few other things to mention. Chris is going to be joining us in January in West Palm for a small specialty event that actually only has 2 tickets left. So if you're interested in joining in the STS event, please look for information online or reach out to myself or Tammy, and we can give you that information. We'll start a new season of the Space Explorers Club. Those are the dates for the Hall of Fame, May 14th through 16th, and we'll continue with our spring award ceremonies, as well as the kickoff events for the 4 new schools that I mentioned that we'll be adding. And now a special guest we have today is Madeline Blake, and I don't want to miss a single thing about her, so I am going to read her bio. If you don't mind, I did not memorize it, but she's going to talk to us for a few minutes about her experience as a scholar. Madeline was a 22-23 astronaut scholar recipient at University of Minnesota, where she currently resides. She double majored in neuroscience and cell biology. Madeline has been heavily involved in ASF since becoming an astronaut scholar, including speaking at this year's Astronaut Hall of Fame Gala. She has an incredible journey, and now I will turn this over to her to share a few words with us. Thank you, Madeline.
Thank you so much, Tammy. That was an awesome introduction. You did get something wrong. I'm triple majored, but that's just my own pat on the back. I'm so grateful to be speaking with you all today. This is such a huge honor. I love speaking at the Hall of Fame, and so this is just another opportunity for me to share how ASF changed my life. And as I was preparing to speak with you all today, I came across this quote from the late Captain Jim Lovell, and I felt compelled to include it because it really spoke to me and my person. He said in his book that there are people who make things happen, there are people who watch things happen, and there are people who wonder what happened. To be successful, you need to be someone who makes things happen. So as Tammy said, I was selected as an astronaut scholar from the University of Minnesota Twin Cities in 2022. And I want to begin by thanking ASF and every single person here today for believing in the power of young people to change the world. If you had told me 5 years ago that I'd be here speaking in front of you all about how the astronaut scholarship changed my life, I would have smiled politely, but truthfully, deep down, I probably wouldn't have believed you. Not because I didn't dream big, I did. I've always been somebody who's been super curious. I've always been the kid who asked way too many questions in science class. and the one who stayed after school to stare at brain diagrams and wonder how something so small could contain everything. But like so many other students from disadvantaged backgrounds, the space between my curiosity and my reality felt wide, sometimes impossibly wide. I grew up as one of 5 children, living on my father's salary as a mechanic, and we spent much of my childhood below the poverty line. I knew what it felt like to sit in a classroom and wonder if the heat would be on when I got home. I knew what it felt like to have big dreams and very few resources. For me, college wasn't just a goal, it was a question. Could I afford it? Would I belong? Would anybody be there to help me stay once I got there? And then something extraordinary happened. I received the Astronaut Foundation scholarship. Now, on paper, I know that that might look like a financial award, and it was, but to me, it was so much more. It was extraordinary. It was a message, a lifeline. It was the first time I had felt truly seen, not just for what I had done, but for what I could become. It made me feel valuable because that's how ASF makes you feel. It's valuable, not just for your resume, but for your potential. Because ASF doesn't just support scholars like me. I firmly believe that they uplift people. To me, that acceptance letter was a quiet but powerful vote of confidence that said, you matter, your work matters, and your future matters. That scholarship didn't just help me attend the University of Minnesota, it gave me the permission to dream unapologetically. It took the heavy weight of financial worry off my shoulders and replaced it with something I hadn't known I needed, which was belief. And I carried that belief with me into lecture halls, into labs, into rooms where all too often I was the only one who came from a background like mine, where no one else had worried about free lunch benefits or watched their parents struggle with mental illness and addiction or had to explain that they were putting themselves through school. It was intimidating. Sometimes it still is, but the ASF community gave me something I didn't have before: the confidence to speak up anyway, to take up space in those rooms and to say, I belong here too. And I'll never forget the moment I knew that was true. I was in a lab, surrounded by equipment I had only ever seen in textbooks, staring at a brain slice under the microscope, and I thought to myself, I'm really here. I'm doing the thing I once thought was impossible. That moment, that quiet but powerful moment of realization, was made possible by the scholarship. Because ASF didn't just open a door, they gave me the strength to walk through it and the foundation to stand tall once I got inside. But the most unexpected gift was the kindness, the warmth, the genuine support from the ASF community. From the very first moment I got my scholarship, I felt welcomed, not just congratulated, but included. They made me feel like I wasn't alone, like I had a network, a family, and a home. One of the hardest parts that no one ever talks about is how lonely class movement can be, how isolating it feels to walk into rooms your parents never did and to straddle 2 worlds, the one you came from and the one you're trying to reach. ASF helped bridge that gap for me, with kindness, with community, with unwavering belief, and that truly has made all the difference. So here's the truth. None of us get here alone. Behind every opportunity is someone, a mentor, a donor, a foundation, who chose to believe. And that's why I'm so grateful that ASF gives me the opportunity to pay it forward, not because I have to, but because I can. Because I was given a chance that too many students like me never get. And I carry that gift with me into every conversation, into every classroom I speak in, every student I mentor. Because paying it forward isn't just a nice idea, it's a responsibility and one I gladly bear. It's a promise to be the person I once needed, a promise to remind the next generation of students, especially those who feel like outsiders in STEM, that they do belong. Because when we invest in students who've been left out, when we give them not just resources, but recognition and support, not just help, but hope, we don't just change individual lives. I believe we change families. I believe we change communities. I really do think we change the face and future of science. And then I think we changed the world. So yes, the ASF scholarship did change my life, not by making me an astronaut, but by giving me gravity, by grounding me in purpose, by anchoring me to a mission larger than myself, by giving me the tools to rise, and the responsibility to lift others as I do. So to all of you, donors, organizations that partner with ASF, and dreamers who make this possible, thank you. You didn't just help fund my education, you gave me a chance to become. I graduated summa cum laude from the University of Minnesota Twin Cities in 2024 with a triple major in neuroscience, genetics, cell biology and development, and cellular organismal physiology. During that time, I received numerous awards, including the Astronaut Scholarship and the Goldwater Scholarship. I'm very proud to say that I was the first female student at the University of Minnesota to receive both awards as a sophomore, as it's an honor that's typically reserved for juniors. At present, I'm working in biomedical research, trying to use biochemistry to find new therapies and drugs for those struggling from addiction-related cardiovascular disease. Next year, I'll apply for dual MD PhD programs, the first in my family to pursue a career in medicine or academia. My goal is to one day become a physician scientist where I can treat patients at the bedside while also working in a lab to design new therapies. I hope that one day my work will cure addiction. And after having the amazing opportunity at Hall of Fame to hear Dr. Peggy Whitson's story on how she became a biochemist astronaut and Dr. Bernard Harris' story about how he became a physician astronaut, I can't lie, considering adding another dream to my docket. So let me be your proof. One opportunity, one student, one future. That's all it takes to spark a legacy. And I intend to carry that legacy with me for the rest of my life. Thank you all for being a part and helping me become someone who makes things happen. It's a gift I'll never be able to repay.
Thank you so much, Madeline. That was so well said and so heartfelt and really captures the mission so perfectly. And I appreciate you giving us your time and your story very much. And I want to thank all of you for joining us and all the support you provide to ASF and exceptional students just like Madeline. So with that, I want to thank you again for your volunteerism, your dedication, your financial support to our mission. And I want to thank the ASF team for helping put this together, for the board as well, for their support in my first 7 weeks. And thank you everyone for joining us, and have a wonderful afternoon.